Hey guys, today is part 3 of a group of guns that I got in just recently. Today's assemblage are miscellaneous pocket pistols. Okay, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly because I've got quite a bit of them. I pulled some up here. Some are big, some are medium, and then there's some tiny ones. So let's go through these together. Come on in. Okay, we're going to start with this one. This is a Sauer, and it looks like a Behorden, but I want to mention the holster first. This is a police-style holster, and it's dated 1939. There is the police eagle, the stubby wing eagle, as I like to call it. Now, all of these rigs came from the same collector. And I said in the earlier videos that he liked to make sure everything was together with the spare magazine, and it took a long time to get a lot of these together. But there are several of these, just like I remember I said he had several 22 caliber PPKs. There are several Behordens in here. Now, the Behorden was a popular police pistol. It comes in 7.65. It also looks a lot like the model 1913. It does have an extra safety here on the trigger. It has an extra safety. This one, the finish is pretty good. There's the company logo. We've seen that before. It's a man standing with a rifle, and it is Sauer & Sons. You can see it here. This is a numbered magazine that matches the gun itself. Here you go. The last 3 digits are 227, and you can see 227 right here, .1, which means magazine number 1. Let's see if it has 227.2. Checking the second magazine, it is not numbered. So this is not the number 2 mag, but this is a spare mag, and this would be the number 1 mag, 227.1. Interesting. But yeah, the only police marking would be this right here. It kind of looks like a starburst, and that police marking I've seen on police holsters before. But this is a Behorden, a very desirable gun. You can see here where the frame and the barrel meet. And this is the cocking knob, and it has a crown end proof here, and also the barrel will be proofed. This left side has the Sauer & Son logo, and then the caliber here. So this complete rig will stay together and be offered for sale. Now here's a little guy. These are adorable little holsters, by the way. Some of these little holsters can be very expensive. You know this is pretty early, 1930s, because it's got a brass knob. And I believe this is going to be a WTP. Let's see. Yep. Mauser made a small pocket pistol, WTP. And there's that marking right there. And this is a 25 caliber. It comes with this spare magazine. This is kind of squared off, and this one is the same way. The 2 magazines look about the same. And let's move on. The next one, little pocket pistol. MAB. So this is a French-made pistol, MAB. And when the Germans occupied France in 1940, they occupied the factory, and then they took them into the German military, and there is the proof mark on this French MAB. Now it happens to have, again, it's a rig. It has the correct holster. This one is dyed black, which the German military often did. Originally brown, dyed black. There's the spare magazine. And if I look down inside there, sure enough, you won't be able to see it, but down inside there, the leather is brown. So it's brown down there, but the Germans dyed it black. Maybe that means it went to a Waffen SS group, but I can't say that for sure, so I won't. Here's the next one I'm a little more familiar with. Now this one, this is dyed black, but I believe it was originally black. I'll look down in here. Again, you won't be able to see it as well, but no, I'm wrong. It's brown down in there for sure. So down in there it is brown. So this is another brown holster that the Germans then dyed black. This happens to be ACA. You can see the ACA logo. Might be a little hard to see. I'll try to hold it still. And DRGM. This is a really nice ACA holster, which normally I'd say, oh, it could have gone to a PPK. But if you take a look at what I'll call the muzzle or the snout, It's a little bit wider. This is the more standard snout or muzzle on a PPK holster. And notice how this one is just a little bit wider. So this holster, even though it's not stamped Mauser inside, it could have been stamped, but I can't read it now. Notice the reason for that is because they have the lever down here and the sight here. PPK, the PP and PPK are a little more narrow, so instead of using this holster, they use this wider holster. So all that is to say, this is a pretty rare ACA holster that specifically goes with this 1934 Mauser. And of course, that is the correct magazine. And you know this guy. I was wrong. Where the heck is the spare magazine? Oh, duh. Whew. I thought for a minute there he made me look bad, but there it is. He did it right. That's the spare magazine that goes with this gun. 1934 Mauser with a rare black ACA holster. Okay, this one was in a previous video, and we've already talked about it. This is the Behorden. This magazine is not numbered, and I don't see any police marking, so I assume this was just a commercial gun. So you can see it's in about similar condition. A nice Behorden. These are very popular, and again, 7.65. It predates the Sauer 38H. I think I mentioned before this, well, this is a police holster. You can see 1939, and there's the police logo, and there's the name of the German who carried it. It does have a spare mag like all the others. Now this should, I don't see a police marking. That perplexes me, but it does look like a police gun. But since it does not have a magazine, numbered magazine, and this is not numbered magazine, can't say for sure that it's a police gun, but it is in a police holster, and it fits very well. Now this one comes in a nice shoulder holster. I really like this shoulder holster. A lot of times these are marked ACA. I don't see any marking at all, but it's kind of a rare shoulder holster. Looks very good. Now you can see that the barrel would accommodate probably a PP or PPK. You can see the barrel ends right about here, but if you had a PP, it would go a little bit further. And this is actually a very rare gun. I didn't know very little about, but it's a chromer, and it is in 7.65. This is a nice high polish finish. Looks like it was done probably in the third. I'm wrong. There's a eagle end proof. So this was made in probably about 1940, high polish finish. Could be 41, so it's a wartime chromer. There's the eagle end. This is actually a pretty valuable gun. There is no spare magazine because there's no magazine pouch in this shoulder holster. This is a really remarkable gun. Probably most of you have never heard of one, and I do this for a living all day long, and I don't think I've seen more than 2 or 3 of these. So somebody's going to gobble this up right away. It's a very rare gun and very collectible. Okay, here's another little baby holster, and it's adorable. Oh, this one is maker marked right there, so that makes it a little more valuable. It's maker marked, and then underneath the maker mark, it looks like there's a 41, but I can't say for sure. But it is right there underneath there. There is a faint outline of a 4 and then maybe a 1 after that. Just can't say for sure. So again, full rig. Here's the spare magazine, but what the heck is it? I believe it's a baby FN. It is. It's a baby FN. So this is an FN Browning and a little baby gun about the size of a Walther Model 9. It's in beautiful condition. Notice the straps are beautiful. And here, this holster... This holster could be worth $300-400, and the gun I'm not sure, but we'll look it up. But it's a small 25 caliber pocket pistol, and I know this collector liked them a lot. By the way, you can see here, this is another holster that was dyed black. You can see how common it was. During the war, they wanted to, if they were using it for the military, they would dye it black. And I don't see any brown down in there, but that sure looks like it was dyed over. Okay, here's another holster, and oh, look at that. That's Waffen stamped right there. It's upside down, so I'll turn it over for you. See the Waffen stamp here. And then it's maker marked and 42, so I think that is, you can see the J. It's awkward here, but JHV, I believe, and then it says 42 underneath. So this is a military accepted holster. This seems like a little wide at the bottom. Maybe it was made for a 1934 1934 Mauser, but it happens to have a Sauer 38H. I just mentioned that a little bit ago. You see the Eagle 37, which means this was accepted into the military. These are zinc-bottomed magazines with the SS on it, which stands for Sauer and Sons, nothing to do with the other SS. And then you can see there's a spare magazine that's marked SS. But this does look like an original holster. There is a very small ink, not hardly visible. I believe that says Sauer, and it would be 7.65 Sauer. And once again, this one looks like there's some black dye. In fact, you can almost see the brown underneath where it wore off. Again, a lot of these, in 1940, there was an edict that brown holsters were to be dyed black, and I think I see some brown down in there. So this was dyed black, but as you know, it's not that big a deal. It does come off pretty easily, but this is just, you can see the brown underneath the black. But as I said, the military came out with an order to dye the brown holsters black so that all the uniforms would be uniform. Okay, this is another black holster that looks like it was dyed. I think I've got a theme going here. Yeah, you can see around here where they dyed it black. So it was once brown, now it's black. And this is, again, a police holster, 1939. There's a police, what I call the stubby wing. It's got a spare magazine. But what the heck is it? Let's open this up. And it's, a lot of people say Dries, but I believe it is Drysa. There is a police unit marking right here. You see the crown N. So this is an awkward looking pistol, but I'm pretty sure the detective in Babylon, Berlin carried one of these. These are very popular collector guns. Serial numbers up here. But this is another police gun. Here you see marked a numbered magazine, which is common for the police guns. Let's see if it matches. It could be a unit 4747, and this is 177, so it's not that, and it does not match the serial number. So it is a police mag, but not matching to this gun. Let's look at the other mag, and it looks like it's not marked at all. So let's get rid of the Drysa and move on to, there's another 1934. Now this one remained brown. Maybe it went to the, well, it's because it's early. Notice the brass fitting, brass stud. So this is an early one. It was never dyed, but it also is in the Kriegsmarine style. I don't see a Kriegsmarine marking, but this style of holster is Kriegsmarine, and I don't believe they all dyed their holsters. It was more the Army or the Waffen SS troops. This is not a Navy gun. Oh, geez, there it is. That's why it's in a Kriegsmarine style. It is a Navy gun. Didn't realize that. So we have a Kriegsmarine. You see the Nazi Eagle with the M, which stands for Marine or Navy. 32 caliber, 7.65. There's the magazine and the spare magazine. There is no property mark on this, and there's no property marks on the magazines, but this is a Kriegsmarine style holster, which they are typically never dyed black. I won't say never, rarely dyed black. So this remained in the original brown color. The magazine is a little awkward in that it is too tall, but I'm sure this holster was made for this gun. Here's another little baby. I think this is a Simpson. This is an ersatz holster. It's actually made of paper that's pressed together. I don't want to pull it apart, but you can see it's layers of paper that is pressed together. Now this is leather, but this is that paper material. And it was because they were running out of leather, so they made some early holsters in this leather material. It tends to be very stiff. It's hard to open that up. And then also you can see the outline. And once it becomes impressed on there, it's just glue and paper. It tends to stay that way. But this little baby, about the size of, again, Model 9 Walther or that baby FN, but in this case, Simpson. Now, there is no P. It's not Simpson. It's Simpson. This was the Jewish family that used to make bicycles, and then they started doing parts for guns, and eventually started making guns, and eventually got a contract for the Lugers. It made DWM and Mauser really mad because he was Jewish, and he got a contract after World War I, and they were not allowed. They were banned from making military weapons. And so, of course, when Hitler came to power, he was forced to leave. He and his family, being Jewish, they were forced to leave. You think, poor them, but lucky them, because they got out in time before they started rounding up Jews and killing them. So in the case of the Simpson factory, they were making Lugers, Simpson Lugers. Here's one here that we have sold in the past, Simpson Luger. And then later, that factory went over to Krieghoff, and Heinrich Krieghoff made pistols for the Luftwaffe. So there's a storied history with this Simpson. I don't know much about these guns. It's a little 25 caliber. I think it's pretty rare. And you can see that there's the guide rod, and it's got a unique design. Not sure I know much about these. I've never shot one. But that looks a lot like the Model 9 in the back, and so the firing pin is right in there. And it's got the magazine and no spare magazine because there's no room in the inn, just like the little baby Jesus. Okay, this is a unique holster. I can't say I've seen too many of these, but I do see the maker is Versa, and it says 1941, and that's in Munich. So kind of the South Germany. I love the Munich area from 1941. So the war's already started. This is a unique design, and it has a Mauser HSC. Let's take a closer look. I'm just fascinated by the holster because it's just a very well-made, unique holster. Okay, it finally found its way out, and you can see this high polish finish, so I know it's early. Let's see the date, and serial number is 767, so that's a pretty early serial number, and I knew it because of the high polish finish. Also, these have the lanyard in the back, and later they removed that because they didn't really use it very much other than maybe police guns. And this is a police gun. There's a Police Eagle L. And that would make sense in terms of the holster. Notice this is a matte finish, and then this is a high polish finish. That's pretty typical, and you know it wasn't refinished. Matte finish, high polish finish. This is incredible condition. Just a beautiful gun with beautiful grips, no chip in the grip at the top like you often see. And then this would be a police holster, which is why it's better quality than the military ones. The military ones, of course, they were ordering thousands at a time. This going to Munich, they probably only ordered several hundred. So this is a very unique rig. And does it have a spare mag? Of course. Don't we know this collector by now? Spare magazine, complete rig. Beautiful gun, beautiful holster. Okay, see this here? This is the final batch. This is a lot of guns. I hope you're not too bored and left. Well, if you're bored, you're already left. I'm going to do the green one first. As soon as I see the green holster, I know it's one of two things. One, it could be the forest rangers or forestry. The police, the Third Reich police, had a forestry service, and they worked in some of the rural areas, and they often had one of these. They had green uniforms and green holsters. But in this case, it looks more like a Beretta, and the reason I can say that pretty emphatically is you can see that unique style of magazine. This is a Beretta, Italian Beretta. Their uniforms were green, and they used these green holsters. Notice it does have the spare Beretta magazine. And this is a very dull finish. You can see it's almost like it was rubbed down with charcoal. This here, you can see it's a 4UT in a circle, and that was the inspector proof during the when the Third Reich, when the Germans took over the factory, because the Italians were turning on the Germans, they arrested Mussolini, they later killed him and his mistress, and all that was going on. The Germans said, the heck with this, we don't want to interrupt our supply chain, so they came in and just took over the factory, and that is a proof mark. That means it happened after the Germans had taken over the factory, and in fact, you see here 1944. This one, the Germans liked 32 caliber or 7.65, and that's what this is. There's hardly any wear on this at all. It's very dull, and some would say a bit ugly, but this has not been used very much at all. And this, the magazine looks like this. It's kind of a unique magazine. There is a spare magazine. I already mentioned the green the green holster. And these came with that little lanyard. Beretta, of course, was a very reliable weapon. They still make pistols today, and for a long time we're making them for the U.S. military. So, for example, the Beretta Model 92, something that Beretta still made. Maybe they still make it, but the U.S. military now uses other contractors. Okay, not much to say here because this is just another Behorden. It is not police marked, and therefore I don't believe the magazines will be numbered. Yes, indeed, this is another Behorden. This one is not as nice a condition, and hold on, very clearly a Starburst K. So this actually is a police gun. I was guessing it was not because this is not a police marked holster unless it's on the back. Nope. You see how it's a very small holster, but it fits very nicely. There's the spare magazine, but this is a police Behorden. And we'll put this back in here and take a look at the next one. This is another Behorden. I cheated and looked, but this one you can see it's marked 1939, and you can see the police eagle. So this is a police rig, spare magazine, and then this is the Behorden. Better condition, there's the Starburst K. So we have a lot of these Behordens. If you ever wanted one, I'm sure they'll be on the site, and you can pick one up. Not sure what the prices will be, but the consignor helps determine that. You can see right here it is marked Sauer, so it was made specifically for this pistol and for a police department. Okay, next we use this one. Remember this one, I did use this on Veterans Day, so I mentioned that this is a French unique. The Germans took over the factory. There's the Waffen stamp. This one is a lot of patina on it. A lot of the finish has just turned into patina, but this is the correct holster to go with the unique, and that is the correct Waffen stamp and a spare magazine. So for this guy, business as usual, but for the rest of us, wow, this is incredible. Here's the next one. This holster is a bit beat up, but I can see from this it's not a 1934 Mauser, but rather a 1914 Mauser. And it's stuck in there. Oh, there we go. Let me wipe it off. That's what these white gloves are for, wiping off the guns. All right, you see the fire blue here, beautiful blue here. There's the serial number. No marking on the magazine. Front strap is pretty good, but this is a commercial gun, not military. There's no military marking on it. There is a Crown U here, but this is 7.65, 32 caliber. Well, you can see here, Mauser 7.65. It looks like a 1934 Mauser, but this is a 1914. It doesn't have the same hump. Real quickly, since I had one, we just looked at one a little bit ago. You can see this one has the hump. It's just a slightly different model. It makes it a little more comfortable. And there's a few other changes that are insignificant, but that's the most noticeable change is the hump and the back on the back strap. Okay, this is actually another 1914 good-looking holster. Again, this is brown, not dyed later, so this is the original color, probably because it never went into service in World War II. But probably brought back by a World War II vet. Another 1914, this one's probably a little bit nicer, a little bit earlier. The serial number is a little earlier than the last one. Look at the nice fire blue here. Front strap is very nice. Beautiful gun. I'll wipe that down. There's a little bit, well, we call it pin pricking, and somebody said, what is pin pricking? Well, it looks like somebody just pricked the print in it. Pickled peppers. You know what I mean. And there's more fire blue here. I already mentioned 7.65 with the magazine and, of course, the spare magazine. So a beautiful rig. Now for the last one in this collection. Okay, this last one is going to cost somebody a pretty penny because this one brings tears to my eyes. Here we go. I've been doing this a long time. I've only seen maybe one other like it. Let me get the magazine out. I just had to remove the cellophane off the spare mag, but because I wanted you to get a good look at it. Now, this is a high polish finish, so I know it's early. This is a Police Eagle C. We've seen Eagle Cs in, I think it was video 1 when we talked about Walthers. There were Eagle C PPs, PPKs, and now we see an Eagle C Sauer 38H. Notice the beautiful front strap, a little bit of schmutzy right there, nice strap. dull finish in the back, just like the Mauser. High polish finish along here. There is some wear, and it is early. That serial number is from about, I believe that's about 1940, so nice high polish finish and an Eagle N. Now, here's what makes this so unusual. They almost never numbered the police guns. You see a lot of those, and they're hardly ever numbered magazines, but the police arsenal did number this one. We see 972 as the last 3 digits, and this magazine, right down here, is numbered 972. But wait, there's more. There's actually 2 magazines that are numbered 972. And you'll notice above that is magazine number 1, magazine number 2. So here's a beautiful gun, 1940, went to the police, 2 matching number magazines. Does it get any better than that? Heck yeah. Here's the holster, which is dated and very faint police marking right here. So it's maker marked, dated, police marking. And on the back, you see the full serial number, 322972. 322972. So, again, been doing this a long time. I've only seen this a few times, but what we have here is a police gun issued in about 1940. I think the holster's marked 1939, but by the time they put them all together, you see the holster is original to the gun, as well as the 2 matching magazines. And so some vet brought back this whole assembly exactly like this. Hey, that was incredible. I hope you enjoyed it and watched all of parts 1, 2, and 3 of this incredible collection. There's plenty here for everybody, so hopefully you can check out our website and find something that you enjoy owning and collecting. For one last time, here is the assembly of all of the guns, part 1, 2, and 3, all in a big pile.